The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So, hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar. We will talk a little bit about model-based definition. So we're just going to run through a few slides, then we'll jump into Creo. So just quickly the agenda for the webinar. So we're going to talk about the model-based definition in Creo. So I'll do a quick introduction of boundary systems, and then there's one or two slides on model-based definition, and then we'll jump into Creo and do a little bit of an exercise in there. Okay, so just a little bit about myself. So I'm Pierre Venter. I'm a boundary systems technical specialist. I've been using Creo for about 8 years now, more in the manufacturing side of things. So yeah, that's more or less the experience I've got in Creo. And using the manufacturing, you have to use everything within Creo before you can get to manufacturing. So I cover all the basics. A little bit about boundary systems. So this is some of the logos of the customers that we serve. The important bit on this slide is the capabilities. So we do product lifecycle management, data management, CAD design and consulting, simulation, and we also help these customers with product development. So some of the major accreditations we've got. So we are Winchell certified implementers. We are a PTC preferred service provider, and we're also a certified training partner for PTC products. So just again, some of the solutions. I think the biggest portion of all of this is the PTC. We also do solid thinking, Iterate, and ZWCAD. Okay, so then I've got two slides on model-based definition. So just for the guys that haven't seen it before, so this is more or less what the aim is. So we're going to put all the dimensions and things on a 3D model. We can have cross sections and all the fancy stuff in Creo we can use, and then we're just adding the 2D stuff in there as well. So dimensions, geometrical tolerances, and everything that goes with that. And I've got another slide. So this is just one of the questions I received a lot on the support desk. Just the settings for these for model-based definitions. So there's two setting files that you have access to now. So the model detail options file. So that one control all the arrow lengths, text size, things like that in the 3D model. And then we still have the normal drawing setup file that you will use in your 2D setup. So there's two different setup files. So you can split your 2D environment and your 3D environment. Okay, so that's my contact information. So if you have any questions after the webinar, you can email me that. I'll get to them, or I'll pass them on to the right people to answer them if I can't do that. If you have any sales related questions, there's the sales email that you can use as well. Okay, so I think that's it for the slides. I had a question about will you guys receive the slides after the webinar? The webinar is normally loaded to our YouTube channel, so you can go and view it there. I don't have a problem giving the two slides about the model-based definition, so I can send you these two slides. I have to find out about the PTC or the boundary systems slides. Yeah, so that question's answered. So let's jump into Creo and let's see how do we use all of this. Okay, so this is a part that's been designed. Let's say it's about 99% completed, and we're going to place some dimensions and things on this. So you would see in the model tree, it's been designed in Creo. We've got the rounds, extrudes, all the features in the model tree. So to access the model definition stuff, you go to this annotate tab at the top, and that's going to open up a new ribbon that you can use to create all these dimensions and things. You'll also notice that the model tree is split into two sections now. So you still have all access to all the extrudes and things in the left-hand side corner, and then everything that we're going to create in here is going to be in the top side. So you can still use your model tree for selecting datum features, axes, extrudes, things like that, and then you can just dimension them in this 3D environment. So very similar to the 2D drawing environment. Okay, so when you're using model-based definition or the annotate features, you'll need to use combined states. So what a combined state is just a section in Creo where you take 3D annotations and you're combining it with the model that you already have. So it's the 2D stuff combined with the 3D stuff. And you'll notice that I have all these tabs at the bottom of my screen, and they're only available when I click on the annotate tab. So if I go to the model tab, you'll notice that they will disappear. So if I go back to the annotate tab, we'll see they are there. So you'll have to start thinking or planning the way that you want to approach your 3D annotations. So think about 2D drawing. As soon as you start that, you'll normally have your front view. Where will you place that? In the left-hand top corner, or the right-hand top corner, or the bottom, or wherever. But that's a planning process that you're working through, and we've been using it so much that you actually don't think about it. But now moving to 3D, you have to think of a little bit about it. So you have to plan it. You only have one model, where with a 2D drawing, you have many views. You have many sheets that you can use. With the 3D stuff, you don't have that. You have one view, and you have to use that, and you have to manage what you show in that. So that's where you will use the combined states. So you can see I have one over here that's showing the bottom of the part with some dimensions. And then if I go to the next one, I'll have a different orientation, and I'll have different dimensions on it. So think that's like a separate view in your 2D drawing. But yeah, we're only in one. We only have one 3D view. And if we go to the next one, that's a whole bunch of different information, dimensions, things on there. And then I can go to the default one, and that is currently empty. Okay, so there's two ways that we can go about this. So like with all the ribbon stuff in Creo, if you work your way from the left-hand side of the screen to the right-hand side, you'll get there 90% of the time. So we will create a new combined state, the new icon on the left-hand side. So if we select that, it will create a new tab here at the bottom, and you will see that is combined state 001. So I can just right-click on that, and I can say rename and give it a nice descriptive name, something like the sheets that you will have in a 2D drawing. Give it. So let's just say I'm going to call this the main combined state. So I just want to have my overall sizes maybe in this view. And I can also set my orientation that I want. So you just rotate the model to something that you want, easy to work with. And as you work through this process, you can always go and you can update that. So if I hit update now, it's going to save that orientation. If I jump to any of the other orientations and I jump back to the main one, that's going to put it back in that orientation. So that's great. So that's a great starting point. Then the next thing that we'll have to do is we need to tell Creo where do we want to put these annotations that we'll be creating. Dimensions, geometrical tolerances, whatever the case might be. So let's start off with the front. So you select front. If you hit the active annotation plane, that's going to rotate the model according to the plane that you've selected. So if I select top and I hit the active annotation, that's going to view from the top. So just a nice, easy way to manipulate your component. So for the first one, I'm going to hit front. And let's say we just quickly want to place some dimensions. We just want an overall size. So I'm going to hit dimension and I'm going to select my references. So remember, you're still in a 3D model yet, so you can make your life a lot easier by just dragging the component. And if you want to select the surface, you can change your filter to whatever you want to select. I can grab that filter. So exactly the same as within the drawing. It's going to give you a dimension. If you hold Control down, it's going to give you an option to grab something else. And that's going to give me the dimension from center to center. Okay, so maybe I don't want that. I want the outside. So I can tell Creo, so use the maximum. You will see that in the ribbon. So that's going to take the maximum distance on the one side, and I want maximum distance on the other side. So that's basically how you can manipulate your dimensions to where to measure from. A lot of the references that you will select will have more than one result. So you can manipulate that as soon as you place the dimension. And then the next one, you can use surfaces again. So let's grab this top surface again. And let's grab the bottom surface. Let's place that dimension over there. So once again, it's giving me the option. I want that to be the maximum. Okay, so now I've got those two dimensions. That's going to give me that size. The other one that I might need is from the top. So I'm going to change my plane. So let's go to top. And let's quickly place that dimension. I'm going to grab that one and that one. It's going to give me a 0 value. I just say that's not giving me the result that I wanted. There we go. And I can manipulate that dimension. Okay, so we're still working in our main combined state, and you can do in these combined states whatever you want. So you can change the your annotation planes, you can add dimensions, you can add geometrical tolerances. Let's say for this combined state, this is the only dimensions I want. If I'm going to publish this will be like just one sheet or just one view. Okay, so I say that's great. Let's orientate it maybe a little bit better so we can see that 180. Maybe we can move that 180 just to this surface over here. It sort of looks like it's disappearing. So if you right click on them, you can change that. So I can say move to plane. And I can pick a surface, and that's just going to move that up. Just making a little bit more sense over here. It looks like it ran into the geometry on that round curve. And we orientate it a little bit better. That's great. And we say update. Okay, so that's really the easy part around all of this, and not the easy part. That's how you will go about it. You'll create a combined state. You're going to place your dimensions, and your geometrical tolerances, things like that. So, and that's basically your workflow. So let's go through another one. So let's say you're going to create a new one, and on this one we're just going to go through a few scenarios. So I can just double click the name there, and let's just play a little bit with this, see what we can get. Okay, so there's our combined state now, and we're going to go through the same process. So let's add a few dimensions on the front again, but this time I'm going to use the show annotation function. So this is drawing the information from your extrudes or from the features that you already created. So I can grab that and I can select a datum axis, and it's going to grab all the dimensions associated with that. So now I can pick, and this is exactly the same as in your 2D drawing. You also have this tab where you can pick dimensions. You can either pick them on the in the show annotation box, or you can grab them in the graphics window. If there was any geometrical tolerances specified in that, you can grab that, and that's all that's specified in this particular feature. Okay, so only dimensions. So let's grab another one that's going to make a little bit more sense. So let's see if we can grab this one. So we want the 70 diameter. We say apply, and we can close that, and there's our dimension. So this feature was created with some tolerances, and that's bringing it into the 2D or the 3D environment, or in the dimension as well. Okay, so let's see if we pick a hole over here. Okay, so there's our hole, 0.2. So we want that, apply. So it's still just as quick as a 2D environment to place these dimensions. You also have the option to switch your arrows. So in Creo 5 they've got the mini toolbar as well. So as soon as you pick something, you have quick access to certain functions. So I just flip the arrows here as well. Okay, so something else that you can do, you can pick this dimension and you can select references. So you can add references to this. So I can, for instance, pick that hole, and that hole. Let's do the original one as well. And that's going to pick all of them up. So now you know all of those holes. As soon as you highlight them, all of them are exactly the same. So you can add a note to this dimension, say all 4 holes are the same size or typical or anything like that. The other way that you can check that, if you use the semantic query, you pick that, you pick the dimension, and then it's going to show you all the references that you've selected. So just a nice way to check that all the holes and the things, what's the same size and what's not. So that's easy for the design engineer to go and just add this little bit of information, and it's making the guy that needs to machine this or needs to make the tooling, it just makes his life a lot easier, because then he doesn't have to go and measure each of these holes. So really a nice, neat feature to save you guys a lot of time on the manufacturing side of things. Okay, so let's add another dimension. Let's go from this hole, that hole. That's one inch apart. Let's do the same for this one. The value should be the same. And then maybe, yeah, that should be fine for this. Okay, so that's adding dimensions. So the 2 ways: show the annotation and use the manual dimensions. So let's move on to, let's add a geometrical tolerance, or maybe a datum datum feature first. So you select it and you tell it where do you want to place that. So I can place it on that surface, and that's datum reference A. I can pick another surface where it makes sense, B. So you notice it will create A, B as you go along. Even if I go to another combined state and I add another feature in here, so let's maybe use this one, that's C. So it's keeping track of where you're creating your datum features, even if you jump between certain combined states. Just going to delete that one, and let's go back to our top play one. And this one's not really making sense at this stage. Let's delete that. Okay, and let's add a geometrical tolerance. So as soon as you hit that, there's a few ways that you can do that. You can select your reference as well. So let's use the whole. As soon as you place that, you have all your geometrical things in a ribbon that you can add. So you can give it a value. You can tell it to be a certain position, your parallel, your flatness, everything is in here, and you can quickly go and build your geometrical tolerances. You can also specify certain datum features, so you can select them. So I can go and pick A. That's not really making any sense in this particular one. So let's not use that one. There we go. Or I can type in a value. Let's say C. So you can build that. You have your indicators as well that you can build in here. So you can build your tolerances as you would need them. -1. Let's remove that. You can add additional text. You can change the arrow styles, things like that. Okay, so that's the easy one. So you just pick your geometric tolerance tool and pick your reference, and you've got it. So what do you do if you need to add it to a dimension? You just start the tool, you pick your dimension, and it's going to add that to your dimension. And from there, your reference, the way that you'll work around it is exactly the same. Okay, so great. A little bit different for the datum tags or the datum feature tools. There's a few scenarios that you can pick. So let's say I pick that reference or the surface. As soon as I start moving that around, it's not. So I can only move it in that direction at this stage. If you want to add it to a dimension, just pick your dimension. But now it becomes important where you pick. So I just pick the dimension, and that's not what I wanted. Let's pick the witness line. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, so where you pick when you place it, that will give you certain options on where you can drag this particular datum feature symbols. It's the same with the geometrical tolerances. So just be wary if you don't get the result that you want, maybe try a different reference. I know the older versions had the reference box where you can pick certain geometry, or you can force it to pick a datum X or something like that. Yeah, you have to pick that as soon as you select the feature. So you won't get that box anymore. So you just start your tool and you'll pick your reference. Okay, so let's play around with one of them and see what options we've got. So you can give it a name, a label. You can also have it as an elbow, and then you can also change it to ISO standard. So I just picked the B datum tag there, and that's going to give it to you as an ISO standard. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show on that. Maybe something else I can quickly show is the notes. So notes exactly the same. You're going to pick where you want to place them. So let's do a note on the bottom. And you can type your notes, and you can do whatever you need to do. Okay, so great example here. So we're looking at from the wrong side. So let's just quickly change that. So we go to change orientation. So that's going to give you a box where you can go and flip and rotate this as you need it to be. So I can say flip, and I can rotate the text as well if I need to. So you can manipulate, and that's the same for the dimensions as well. So you can flip them from whatever annotation plane you selected. So let's leave that one. That reminded me I need to show you this on the dimensions as well, where you can set the display. Let me just move that a little bit. So you can make it an inspection dimension. You can change your text orientation to be above the leader line or below the leader line. And then do you want it to be linear or center leader? So this is a good example of where you will set these settings in the 3D detailed options. So if you set all of that, you'll have your dimensions as you need them. So maybe it's worthwhile spending time and setting all of that up. That's just going to save you time when you start using the model-based definitions stuff in Creo. So you can add your arrow styles as well. Update them immediately as you make your changes, so you can get a good feel how they will look, and will it be clear enough or not. Okay, so that's the orientation part of things. I did show the note with the leader, and you can use all the others as you need them as well. Okay, so I think that covers this for this component. I just quickly want to open up a different component, and then I want to show you a start part as well. So just want to show you how it can be done if you spend a little bit more time on this. We only have a few minutes here, so I can't do everything. So I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, and let's just check what was done in this component. So the first one is the model. So nothing really in there. Go to the map. So this is just like, think of it as a web page. I can jump to certain information. So if I hit Control and I hit General Information, that's going to take me to the general combined state here at the bottom. So you can see all the notes and everything that was added in here. Okay? And it's also using the Creo parameters. So you can pull diameters from Winchell, from the part diameters, or any other place. You can put that in here as well. So if we go back to the site, I can Control again and select the properties. That's going to take me to the properties combined state. So here I can see what material was used, what the mass is, what the units are, and the weight of the model as well. Okay, let's go back to the site. Let's do the last one. Notes. So that's taking me to the notes one, and you can see the notes that's been added. Yeah, so you can either use that method, or that's exactly the same as going and clicking at the bottom on the combined state itself. So you can see all the datum feature symbols that's been added in there. And then we can go and we can look at the dimensions. So this was dimensions created on one combined state, 7b. Some more dimensions just in a different orientation. And some more. Let's just rotate that to make a little bit more sense, like that. Okay. So this will give you a good idea of how you would, or what the end result should be. Okay, so to make your life a lot easier, you can use start parts. So if you use start parts and you use your detailed settings, then you should be going through these annotations quickly, setting up your geometrical tolerances, adding dimensions according to your company standard. You should be able to do that fairly quickly. So let's just quickly open up that start part and I'll show you what that would look like typically. So this is a blank part, so you will save that. As soon as you start a new part, you can force Creo to use this part, or you can select it. There's many ways we can do that. So if we go to the annotation tab, so just note we don't have any geometry in here. So this is the starting point for the component or the part that we need to design. So we've got our banner in here. So that's just saying, giving us some information. So company name, things like that. So it doesn't matter what you do, that will always be there. Okay, so then we have a few combined states. So we have the model one, which is just basically blank. This is where we will do our design work. Then we've got map one. So this is the site map. So we can hold control down here and pick, and we can jump to different combined states. The general, so just some basic information that's already there, so we don't have to go and do that. The properties is already there, and we can just go look at this information and we can start designing our component. So what you will do is go to the model and you start your design process. Let's do a hole as well. Let's do a block and a hole. Okay, so now if we go to the annotation tab, we have our model, we have our map information, we have our general information, and you most probably will go to this first one and you will start adding your dimensions. Something like that. Okay, update that, save that, and that's the process. So start parts and then the options. Let me quickly show you the options. We will access that. So it's under your model properties. Right at the bottom, there's your detailed options. So you pick and change, and there's all your settings. So the guys that's familiar with the 2D stuff, this will look very familiar to them. So you can go and set these. You save this file, and then you set those settings I've talked about during the slides, and you're going to use them each time you start up or start a new design. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to show in Creo. I'm going to put the slides back up, and then I'm going to give you guys a few minutes for some questions, and I'll check if I can answer them. If not, then I'll get the right person. I'll make a note of them. If you don't ask questions now, you can email me as well, and I'll reply to them as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna mute myself for a minute or so while you guys get those questions in. Okay, so I'm not receiving any questions. It was just the one about the slides, which I did answer. Just to say again, I'll make the 2 slides available. I'm not sure about the boundary systems with the company logos and things like that. And so I think I'll keep you guys on for another minute or so, see if there's any questions coming through, and we'll handle them. So there's no questions, so I think I'll go ahead and end the webinar now. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.